Interstellar travel. Don't overthink it. We're here today at Brandon Theaters watching Interstellar, Christopher Nolan film starring Matthew McConaughey. I'm just gonna get out there and say it off the bat. Too long. Too long. I get it, it's one of those art pieces, you know, cinematography things, and that's fine. But if you're gonna do something for that long, it should have a little more backing with it. I feel they probably could have cut 30 minutes out and I would have been like, not bad. I'll wait for the director's cut later on. I normally don't read reviews and stuff, but a couple I read was saying the movie was good, it's good, but it still lacked a little. And I can see why it lacked a little. When they're in space, that stuff was cool. They show you planets, just like how peaceful it looks, but in reality, the harshness of it, can't survive out there. Yeah, it turns out there's a wormhole by Saturn. We're gonna go through it. And then that's when they dive really deep in the rabbit hole of time travel, quantum physics, and from point A to point B, but we're gonna exclude the whole C thing. If you try and think about it through the whole thing, I feel it will ruin the film for you, because then you'll be more pissed off about like, that doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. If you actually go into it with the whole mindset of, okay, it's space travel, in space, no one can hear you scream, so just go with the ride. Pay attention to who is who and what is what, and it's actually not that bad of a story. The cinematography was good. The sound, I felt, was kind of up and down. Like, some parts were like really good, and other parts was kind of like, okay. I did like in space when they would use their jetpacks and what stuff. No sound, nothing, no muffle. It's just, you see it, and it does its thing, that's it. Quiet. Visually, great movie. Like 10 out of 10 on the visuals. Story-wise, I could say it's been done before, you know, oh, I'm leaving, and I will return. I don't know when, but I will. And then you've got the whole human drama thing. But then the thing that gets fun is, like I said, when they start doing the time thing, or the quantum stuff, the stuff that rattles your brain because you're trying to figure out and it makes no sense. That's when stuff got interesting for me. It's like, okay, I see what they're doing. But then the movie comes to an end, and you're kind of like, okay, I feel we've reached a solution, but I'm still a little confused. Should there be more to this? I don't know. Is there like 30 minutes they did edit out? But all in all, I'm gonna give the movie an 8 out of 10. Reason being for the not higher of the score, it was long. It was very, very lengthy. But like I said, I liked the cinematography, I liked the visuals, I liked the sound. I enjoyed Matthew McConaughey. I'm not saying I don't like him, but I actually liked him in this. And of course, you got Michael Caine, Anne Hathaway, Casey Affleck, and Topher Grace. Topher Grace is like out of nowhere. I'm like, holy crap, it's Foreman. If you're into Christopher Nolan's style of movies, you'll enjoy it. If you like Matthew McConaughey, Anne Hathaway, and the gang, you'll enjoy it. If you like space things and, you know, stuff that just really makes you have to think, you'll enjoy it. If you're gonna go for a date movie, don't do it. Don't do it. It's not worth it, because she will be pissed off at you the whole entire time unless she's the super girlfriend that's like, dude, I love this stuff, bring it on. It should look pretty good on Blu-ray. To see what the other travelers had to say, let's check that out. Right. Interstellar, my man. What'd you think?
I think this movie is kind of a look at what blockbuster movies are nowadays, and it's a look against it. This is kind of the anti-current movie. And what I mean by that is I'm actually really surprised they made it. It's philosophical in nature. It digs into, you kind of have to get into your own mind to follow the story. You kind of have to grasp at intangible concepts, and it's a very high intelligence movie. That's pretty much 15% of the moviegoers. A majority of moviegoers are looking for Transformers, high action, no real deep story and science and things like that. Those types of movies tend to disappear in the distance, become word of mouth things, and become popular in little nerd groups, but they're not big blockbuster movies. For them to put this kind of a budget in a movie that's just highbrow and high intelligent, high science concepts and hard to follow, blows my mind. 75% of the people that I know that watch movies would probably get bored halfway through this movie because they weren't following it without tons of effort and just say, I'm done, this is boring, I don't want to do this. As you go through the movie, they introduce more and more philosophical concepts and more physics concepts and relativity concepts that you kind of have to follow the science to enjoy the movie. And anybody that either isn't willing to follow the science or couldn't follow the science probably isn't going to enjoy the movie at all. It's going to be boring and slow, and it's going to break immersion for you. You really have to be invested in the story, and you really have to be invested into digging in to follow the scientific journey they're going on. And if you're not invested in that journey, or if it's just boring you, or if you can't follow it, I mean, there's a lot of reasons you might not like it. It's just going to become dumb. Most people that enjoy the movie that aren't really into the science, it's going to be the cinematography and the visuals and the lighting and the music, which was just geniusly done in this movie.
Would you say there's human drama?
Oh, of course there's human drama. I mean, the emotional concepts and I don't know if I can say this, the philosophy of emotion is a big part of this movie. The science part of it's big, but it's kind of obvious. It's out there, you either get it or you don't. It's the philosophical aspect of emotions that I think is the big part of this movie. Whether you want to dig into that is up to you. Is it going to be the movie on the surface? Or is it going to be the point they were trying to make and trying to get you thinking about that's really going to make this movie? It's almost like a big budget art house film. I think what they were trying to accomplish, they did it masterfully, which isn't surprising considering the actors involved in Christopher Nolan. Do I think it's going to be a hit? No, not at all. I think they alienated 80% of their freaking audience from that movie. I'm shocked they made it, to be honest.
You're a space junkie. It's okay to say it. How'd you feel about this movie?
I love outer space since I was in early grade school, and it wasn't until I got into high school that I started studying about the fabric of space-time, the bending of space-time, and wormholes and black holes. It really got me thinking, and it's a lot of unknowns out there, and that's what this movie explores. There's a lot of unknowns, nothing truly defined. NASA reports they can only track 2% of the sky, and it's a big-ass sky, so who knows what's out there. But the point being that this is a philosophical movie. If you're not really paying attention, you're not going to be able to follow it too well, and you're going to be like, that's stupid.
Well, the ending won't make sense to you.
Exactly. The end, it will be a very confusing movie. If you have ADD, good luck loving this movie. Or ADHD. If you have a list of certain neural abnormalities, like me, you might really love this movie. In fact, you may get a just the idea of what this movie presents for you. I did not get literally, but in my brain I was like, this is so awesome. And Christopher Nolan and his brother, I cannot remember his brother's name offhand, they did a lot of research. They talked with a lot of science people, obviously. I read on Wikipedia, which is reliable to a degree, that it took them years to research all this and write a script for it. And no doubt this movie will get Oscar nominations. What for, I really don't know. Maybe cinematography, maybe visual effects, though there were about the same amount as Inception and Dark Knight Rises, which is what I also read on Wikipedia. Again, it's reliable to a degree. Out of 10 stars, I'm going to give this a solid 9.0. The only problem, lengthy. There was a lot they could have cut out. Understandably, they spent a lot of time with human emotion and sentimental.
I give it a 9 out of 10. No, I'm giving it a 9 out of 10 not as a regular moviegoer. I've already given my warning to people watching if this is a movie for you or not. For someone that enjoys the philosophical concepts and exploring the ideas of emotions, I thought it was fantastic. I was riveted. There were very, very few times that broke immersion, and they were usually caused by the people that apparently thought the theater was their living room.
I know, right?
That kept talking during the movie.
Oh, that's her daughter!
Yeah.
Really?
Outside of that, it had me hooked. I was hooked to everything going on, and it didn't feel 3 hours to me at all. As a matter of fact, we saw hour-and-a-half movies more recently that felt longer than that movie did.
Hercules.
So that's a good example, actually. That felt like a drug, but that movie, it didn't feel like it was 3 hours. When it was over, I'm like, oh, it's over? Okay. I guarantee you that for the next week, I'm going to spend downtime thinking about the concepts of that movie. It's a lot of brain cycles going on about that movie.
If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. Like this video, favorite it, like us on Facebook, share it. What is your favorite Christopher Nolan film? Shoot that down there. I don't want any heat from this, but The Dark Knight's my favorite Christopher Nolan film. Second to that would be Inception. Awesome! If you're not into Interstellar, go on ahead and check out the link to Big Hero 6, which also came out this week. Great family Disney Marvel movie. Check that out. And as always, we're letting you know before you go here or 1,000 light years away at Brennan Theaters.